talking, all right, so we're talking mini project 7 and mini project 8 for tonight. All right, go for it. Anyone run into anything they want to chat about first?
Yeah, I can't. How did you guys do the limit of 3 years? I can't figure it out at all.
I can show how I did it, or in case you want to show how you did it. Either way.
So I actually couldn't hear the question. So would you ask that again?
Well, I did the drop down list for the year, and it says to limit it. Somebody's. Let me see if my mic is on.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
That sounds a little better.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm getting. I don't know. My husband set up the speaker thing, and I'm sorry. I'm getting feedback. You know how you do the years, and you set it up. The drop down menu has to have all the years through 2009 and 2016, but you have to limit it to the 3 years.
Right. Here, I'll share my screen. I have it up here. Okay. So you're talking about the drop down here, the 3 years, right?
Your drop down has to show all the years, it said.
No, you only need to show the validation to be of the last 3 years. You have to be able to use data from all of the years, but you only want to, at least for the drop-down selection like he has there. The chart has to be able to select from one of those 3 years, but then show the past 5 years.
Okay.
So now if I read it correctly, also, Casey, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it the year we select in the previous 4 years? So it's five total years, isn't it?
Yeah, the previous 4, so that's 5 years total. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, perfect. Ultimate, because I didn't end up using any data from 2009. I know it gives us data from 2009, but I didn't use any of it. Since we only went back to 2014.
Okay, that's why I couldn't do this at all, because I was so stuck on the limiting it. I'm pretty sure it said your drop-down list had to show all years.
Let me pull it up here.
So is there a way in Google Hangouts to make it so that just the person who is presenting, we see their screen so it doesn't flash back and forth from everybody when they're talking?
I think if you just click on my name, it'll stay on my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Perfect.
Okay. So, oh, the wrong one.
Then why am I not? Okay, you're covered. Okay. There we go.
Doorbell.
Home teachers are here.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Good. He's upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. I just wanted to drop this shop and thing.
Okay. Andre?
All right, so right here, so this drop-down list should allow the user to select one of the most recent 3 years.
Tremendous. How are you? Cool.
Okay.
It's all right. I have to respect the house, you know. I might wear the carpet out.
Hey, Lisa, could you mute your microphone for a bit so that we don't hear all the chatting in the background?
Okay, let's see. Mute my mic.
It's up at the very top center, the little microphone with a line through it. Just push that button. Perfect.
So we all go with this here. We're most recent 3 years. Are we all reading that the same way? So just 16, 15, and 14?
Yeah, that's
Correct.
how I read it.
Okay. All right. My data sheet is a mess. I mean, there's stuff all over the place, but it did the job for me. Oops, wrong one. There we go. All right, so this one here, so the 3 years, and then did anyone else have any other issues though about this one that we all wanted to discuss?
I'm having mine that the percentage of years, I'm still having it pull up as just the dollar amount. How do you calculate it to do the percentage?
For this one, the percentage of sales?
Yes.
That one, let me find, here's how I did it. In case if you did it a different way, you can, I mean, you're definitely more versed in this than I am. So that one is off of this data set here. So basically, I took these numbers in this chart right here, copied them into a new chart, and divided it by the sales number.
Okay.
And then I linked, so then ultimately my graph is based off of this data set right here.
Got it.
There's probably a more efficient way, but that's how I did it.
Yeah, it was those efficient ways that, so when you adjust the selections, does your data sheet update?
Yeah, because I did here, let me just double check. Make sure I'm 100% on it. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, it adjusts. I think the way I did it is I did it based off of, I guess I could see right here. Hold on. I think I did it off of HLOOKUP. Oh, my sheet's protected. I was like, why is this not working right now? Okay. So.
I was doing the same thing with my sheet, going, I can't select it. Oh, it's protected.
Yeah. My formulas. How do I look at my formulas again? I forgot how to. Oh yeah, so man, I did all this off of HLOOKUP and tied it to this year right here. I did an HLOOKUP off of the year. How did I get the other ones in here though? I did this 2 days ago, so now I'm trying to remember. I have the other one in my head. $630. Oh, it's off of this right here. Okay, so this is what my graph is based off of right here.
Okay, mine looks similar to that, yeah. It just has the dollar signs in it instead of percentage.
Yeah, so this ultimately is tied, these years right here ultimately tied to this right here. And then it's HLOOKUP, it's using a HLOOKUP function or a VLOOKUP function off of this data set right here. So that's how I did that particular graph. HLOOKUP, or VLOOKUP, I mean. VLOOKUP.
So I actually didn't build a graph for that. Well, I did. I only built one graph. I didn't have to build two because of the way that I wrote the formulas using an index and putting all the calculations in behind that index.
Mm-hmm. You just have two graphs?
No. I have three graphs as per the, well, here, let me, if you like, I'll show you.
Yeah.
All right, let me get this over here. Now, can you all see my spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yeah,
So all of these are dynamic in the sense that this is the graph that it's pulling from.
mm-hmm.
When I change, first off, you'll notice something here also. See how it says direct material as a percent of total sales?
Mm-hmm.
But if I change that to inventory cost, see how I've got it so that changes as well?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all done off of this tabulation here, where each one of these is actually looking at this string so that I'm, and we'll get into indexing a little bit more, but basically I'm doing a real-time calculation as opposed to pulling information from a larger chart. And then the name of the spreadsheet is tied. I use a concatenate function, which basically just combines two strings of text. So what I've done here is I've concatenated the B17, which is this text right here,
Mm-hmm.
the inventory carry, and then put a space in there, which is the quote, space quote, and then B20, which is just text that I've entered, which is as a percent of total sales. Now, the reason why I did that is then, and this is about the only way you can do that, you can't use concatenate in a graph. I've already tried. But this text box right here is tied directly to my selection from this page. So no matter what happens here, if I go to sales budget, then that changes sales budget, and then thus that changes the name of the graph. This is the name of the graph, and it's tied directly in here. As you can see, it's a calculation. So you can do that. So it just makes it a little bit, slicker, if you will. Adds a little bit of panache to it. Updates real fly. And then all of my data is just pulled directly from calculations as opposed to building another spreadsheet. This is why, like I said in the text, it took me a while because I had to figure out how I wanted those formulas to lay out, as opposed to just building one big giant spreadsheet. Now, could I have done that? Yes, I could have, but chances are I'd have probably messed something up in that process and it wouldn't have worked well for me. So if I go, just any one of these, and for me, I like doing the percentage here because then I can see how much of it is the EBIT versus the total sales amount.
Oh, shoot, I forgot to send that link to her.
And then if I change that, then they all update.
Yes, I knew you had a more streamlined version.
Well, it took me a lot longer to figure out.
Yeah.
Now, how do I stop screen sharing?
Just go to that same monitor with the green arrow, or the green monitor with the white arrow, and just click on it.
There we go. Perfect.
Cool.
Couple of other things that I don't know if they'll count off or not, But when you're building your spreadsheets using
Now, can you
the
hear
kind of
me?
the similar, yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
But using the same color patterns, like they were talking about using, colors that are too vibrant, but also swapping colors around a lot can be a little distracting as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can hear you
I can hear
now.
I don't know if she's or us. Hey, Priscilla, sorry about that. I would send it out to the wrong email strain.
It's okay. I started looking around and I found it, so sorry I'm late.
No, no worries.
I was talking to Anthony. I don't know if he's on here. He's on.
No, he's in Mexico, I think.
Yeah, I was talking to him on the boat. I guess we had bad signal, and I honestly, I've been working on this for 5 hours. I don't even know really where to begin. After talking to him, he's like, I don't even know why we're using this formula. It's not even efficient. I think my biggest problem is that with 2 items, the line item and the year, I got lost in a rabbit hole. I don't know how to set up my file.
Yeah. Here, I'll share screen mine again. So Casey's looks better than mine, definitely. But
Well,
here,
mine's a lot more complicated though.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to yet, but so your issues with this graph right here, right? The percentage of sales where years change and it's dynamic based off of item, correct? This one? Okay.
Well, how am I going to change by year and item on the same chart?
Yep. So here, let me show you. This is basically the way that I did this is I set up a dynamic, basically data set for that graph to be linked to. But let me pause real fast because I'm almost out of battery, so I need to go get my battery pack. Sorry, hold on 1 second.
How long did it take everyone to do this? Where are you guys at?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It takes me between 8 and 9 hours to do these things, and I haven't even started.
So if I may assist you in the mini project number 8, it's not difficult at all.
Yeah, 8 is easy.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm just so stressed right now.
Okay, sorry, I got my battery.
I've been doing this for 6 hours today.
Yeah, 7 is definitely between the two, the more difficult of the two. Anyway, so for this one here, this graph right here, I set up a new data set where the year is dynamic. It's linked dynamically to whatever is in this cell right here that you can modify. So if I were to change this to say 2015, then this data set changes with it.
Okay.
As far as year.
So how did you link the 2 then?
The 2 I linked, let's see, this is financial statements AB 30. So it's linking through AB 30. Sorry, my dad's all over the place, so I'm gonna have to kind of sort through it real fast. So it's linked through this data set right here. And what I did was this year is, and you could do this really with any data set. This year I have linked to this cell right here. And then the other years I have the same. I have it linked to the same cell, but with like a -1, -2, -3, and -4 in the formula. You see that? So it gives me the years that I want out of it. But it's all tied. These years are all tied to whatever is in this cell right here. So again, so it's this -1, -2, -3, and then -4. Oops. And then -4. Oh, gosh, yeah. There we go, -4. So that's how I get the years to be dynamic. The years, basically, it's dynamic off of one cell, and then the other years are a formula. It's the cell -1, -2, -3, -4. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that's solving the first dynamic issue with this graph is getting the years right. And then from there, the next portion of for the percentage is I use the VLOOKUP function. So I set up this is basically a copy of the data set. This data set right here, right to the left. It's a copy of this data set right here. And what I did is I copied all these numbers over to this data set here. And I divided those numbers by the percentage of sales. So I took the sales year, the sales number from that year, and divided it by each cell. So the formula for it is this right here. So it's just using all HLOOKUP. Basically, the HLOOKUP number is pulling off of this data set here, or sorry, pulling off this array right here, and dividing it by the same, array, dividing it by the same sales number based off of the year. So if you look at, we can focus and look at the numerator first. The numerator for me, it's all based off of this array right here, and I locked in the row. So the row is locked into 30, and it moves based off of column. So see the blue is off of this one right here. Same thing, so on and so forth. Where you look at this again. I mean, it's kind of complicated. I'm not super versed in it, so it's tough for me to just like explain it out there. But basically, it's using the array set and dividing it by whatever the sales number is.
So would the direct labor go over sales, or would sales go over all these numbers?
Sales would always be the denominator, the bottom number. So you're dividing whatever number. So whether it's inventory, it'll be inventory over sales. It'll be, admin over sales, because it's all a percentage of sales. So basically, you want to set up your formula so that your denominator of your equation is always going to be whatever the sales number is for that particular year. So this right here, so this is looking up. So if we just look at this formula right here, this is looking up this year, this 2013 year, in this data set, and going off of the second column. Is that right? Oh yeah, the second row. Sorry, the second row. So it's finding this year, this 2013 year, in this array, and going to this second row for the sales number.
And can you go back to your dashboard too?
Yeah. So if I change it like to 2014 right here.
So do all three.
Go ahead.
So do all three graphs change, even the bottom one that's done by a VLOOKUP?
No, I mean, all three graphs will change when you change the year. So yeah, so I guess the answer to your question is yes. The only graph that changes though when you change this one over here is this graph right here. So these, all three of my graphs though, all three of these graphs are tied to different data sources. So like each one of these right here is tying to a different graph. So basically my graphs don't pull from the same data source. Each one has its own, has its independent data source it's pulling from. That's dynamic based off of this year right here.
Okay, I am seeing where my problem was. I thought on our dashboard we were supposed to have the line item.
The what?
The line item for the, I was like trying to put them both together.
I see. So ultimately the line items are going to be, I mean, they are there, they're just condensed into a drop down. I mean, these
Right,
are all the line items.
But they're not, but you can't get them both to work together. Or at least I can.
Yeah, you can get them both to work together.
Yeah.
To
So
me,
here,
like,
I'll work through it real quick here, just to kind of show you how. Basically, I'm going to copy this because this is the one right here. For me, this is the data set right here that is dynamic based off of year and line item. So I'll kind of show you real quick how I set this up.
And line items?
Yes, it is. So here, let me show you. I'll just kind of run through the formula real quick to show you how I set this up. So the first thing I did is for whatever material I wanted, or whatever line item I wanted it to be dynamic based off of this cell right here. So for me, what I'll do is I'll go, I'll put in, oh wait, hold on, let me not do this. Let me give myself some room, sorry. So this is gonna be off of this cell right here and anchor it. So that way now this cell right here is always going to change based off of whatever I select here. Okay, so that's the first key to basically making the two things dynamic. The second one is going to be off of your years. Now probably the way that I've done this is I linked, so I need 5 cells, so I have 5 cells right here. I linked this first cell right here, and really actually I linked all the cells off of my dynamic cell, this one right here.
So can you go back into that equals dashboard?
Yeah, this one right here.
So equals dashboard, and you chose the
dynamic cell. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then right here for the years. So this I want it to link to that cell again on the dashboard. So I click on the cell and anchor it. All right, and so now this will always change based on whatever's in this one. So 2016 changes 2016. So then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy this all the way across here. But I'm going to modify and do this. -1, -2, -3, and -4. So now these years, so right now you see 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. Those will always change now based off of the modification in this cell. See, now it's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's how you make basically your data source, your two sources, dynamic for that particular graph. Now, I guess if you want to call it the harder part, is basically getting these cells, the actual data cells. The data that comes into those cells has to be, as far as how we've learned so far, has to be done with an H lookup or a V lookup, one of the two. And you want to make it, again, dynamic. So here's ultimately kind of a way to do this. Let me see if I can do it right the first time here. So if I go VLOOKUP, and I want it to pull this year, I want that year. Hold on, wait a second. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Hold on. Yeah, I want it to pull that year out of a data set. So I'm going to.
Can you move your cursor?
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to anchor this. Oops, wrong one. Anchor this. I'm going to select. Oh, shoot. So now I need to pull the array. And since we're doing the percentage one, I'm going to have it pull from this array over here. Actually, is that how I did it? Yeah. I'm going to have it pull from this array over here. So then I'm going to copy this array and anchor this. Okay. And then this, I wanted to reference whatever column. Let's see, how did I do this thing? So now I wanted to reference whatever is in. Hold on, let me look at my function real fast.
On the dashboard in the box?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at this one real fast, just so I can recreate it. Dashboard CX. Okay. All right. Perfect. Let me back up. So here's how this is going to work. So my VLOOKUP, I need it to be dynamic. So I want it to look up whatever comes through on this cell right here. So anchor it to that cell. Okay? Yes, I know I've put 2 3 arguments in. And then I want it to pull it out of this data set here. Okay. And then I want it to reference, going back to this formula here, I want it to reference the second column, because the second column is going to have the data information I need. So this should now pull make sure I have this set up right. Oops, sorry. Oh, I included the year, I think. Oh, that's fine. Hold on, sorry, I included the number on it. It's going to be this.
Well, I thought you had to include the number so you didn't have to anchor or change formulas.
Well, yeah, that's for a different part of the data set. This particular one for the percentage, I'm pulling it all off this array right here. So I don't have to, because I'm using a VLOOKUP for this one. I didn't have to use it for this particular part. If I change this to a percentage, this should be giving me the percentage for 2011 total variable cost. Total variable, yeah, right here. So it's pulling this number right here into this cell right here. Hey, go see grandma.
I really appreciate your time and your effort. I have no idea if I'm even going to be able to remotely finish. I mean, I think you've given me a lot of pointers, but I think I struggled too long by myself to set it up.
Do you at least get how to make the years and line item dynamic?
Yes.
Okay. So once you get the years and the line item, basically from there, just kind of play with it and work through the VLOOKUP. So you just needed to pull. You need to reference the item based off of the year, and you're gonna have to. You just do that. As far as what we've learned so far, you have to do it through a VLOOKUP. At least that's what I did.
Right.
So just, I mean, I guess suppose keep playing with it. I know I'm not the best explainer at this stuff. It's new to me, so I'm not 100% versed in it yet. But yeah. But yeah, that's that one. 8. I mean, I guess we can just talk about 8 real quick. 8 is not bad. Casey, I don't know if you're still around, but
where else would I go?
Second? Oh, I don't know. You know, doing your home teaching or something. Casey, let me ask you something about 8.
Who does that at the beginning of the month?
Right? I guess rehearsal at the beginning of the month. Casey, let me ask you real fast. On the days made up for the working for Project 8, or for Mini Project 8, is it more complicated than just taking the completion days and subtracting the initial contract date? Or I mean the normal completion. So basically the days made up, all I did was I took this cell and subtracted it from this cell right here. Or the other way around. I mean, this cell from this cell.
Oh my gosh. You guys said this was easier.
This one is easier. I mean, all this right here is given to you. This is all given to you right here. And then really it's, I don't know, it's just a work
I'm
day.
actually, the data that you have is exactly the data that I have. The cool thing about it is we went about it a little bit differently, but they're both fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was just, I felt like they were trying to get that there was something more complicated with these last two ones, the days made up. And really all it was I just took the initial completion date and subtracted whatever the completion date was that, you know, whatever the stipulation was from that. I mean, that's how I got the numbers, so. Guys, this one though, have you guys watched the video for this one yet?
Are you kidding? No.
No? Okay. The video lays it out all pretty good as far as there's two main functions you'll use for this one. Again, Casey, you might use something different, but I use the workday, which is calculating ultimately how many workdays there are. The workday function. And it lays it out there for you for how to all set this up. It's all, like I said, this stuff is not hard as far as this functionality, I don't think, at least. But the video does a good job of laying it out.
Can you go back to that other screen?
Yeah, this one?
Yeah. False, comma, holidays. Okay. Hopefully, when I watch the video, it'll make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well.
So
yeah.
one thing that I see, if I may interject for a moment,
Yeah.
it looks like that you've named a data set the holidays.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to do that if you use the Workday INTL function, the Workday International function.
This
That
one right
allows you to actually select the cells based on what the holiday dates are.
here. Okay. So you're
I'm
talking
sorry,
about like,
Workday what?
INTL, like he just has right up there now. So, and then when you move out past the 11, comma, and instead of the holidays, so you also have some VLOOKUP things going on that you don't need at all
yeah.
with the INTL. If you want, I can walk us through it.
Please.
Yeah, that's fine. I think looking at this, the reason I suppose I did that was to get how many days it was going to complete, or it was going to take to completion. And I guess the way that I figured out the way I reasoned it this way was I wanted it to be, I suppose, dynamic based off of these cells right here, linking to this data set right here with the days it would take to complete.
So I'll step through it real quick. The first thing they want to do is a build time, right? So your build time is going to be a simple VLOOKUP formula based on the house plan. So in my case right here, and I don't know if you can see my spreadsheet?
Yeah, I can see it.
So the Mount Harriman has a set time. That's given to us over here on this page. So all I'm doing is a VLOOKUP to determine the build days. Then the next formula is the standard completion date. Now this means how many work days between this contract date and 70 days out. So that's just a simple workday formula. I've anchored everything, and it's based on this 70-day mark, right? So it's basically 70 work days out from, what is that, July or August 12th. And that's where it comes up to November 20th. Then the completion date, if you're working Saturdays. Now this is where you want to use the workday.intl, because you're gonna select this contract date. And I anchored the C so that I could do the pull down to finish them all off. And then the next data set that we're going to select is the number of working days, because that's what it asks for. If I come over here and just walk through, can everybody see where I've selected? Some screens aren't maybe as wide as mine. So I'll just walk through this here. So the start date, again, that's the contract date. That's an easy formula. Click that, hit comma. Then the number of days. In other words, how many days is it going to take to complete? That's the simple one as well. We've already been given that information. So I'll select that, hit comma. Now it's asking me, what is my weekend? In this case, the only weekend day that I'm going to have is going to be Sunday, because I'm working Saturdays, right? So I'm going to come down here to number 11 and say Sunday only. And I'm going to click that. And I hit comma. Now it's going to ask for holidays. Well, they are working, or they won't be working holidays for this particular equation. So to determine that, all you have to do is come into your information and select that data set right there, close it out, and it's done. So if I come over here now I'm given 43,042, which we know is just a name, select short date, and that's the 3rd. And if you notice, that's exactly what I've gotten here. So the formulas match. The only difference between this one and then the completion date and holidays, which means they're working holidays. So instead of selecting the holiday list, because that's an option, I'll come back into my formula and show you here. Instead of doing that, oh, that one's going to be complicated. I don't want to mess that up. I'll go back into it again. I can type. Workday International, date, contract date, comma, days, build days, comma. Now, the holiday, we can ask, our weekends, what are the weekends? Well, so we're still going to be the same set because we're still not going to work on Sunday. Saturday we're working because we're told to work on Saturday and holidays. So I'm going to select the 11, which is Sunday only. That's the weekend. And now, holidays is bracketed, which means it's optional. So I don't have to enter anything. And since I don't want to exclude holidays, all I have to do is click. And now I'm given a new bit of information. Now, here's the fun part. Be careful with some of these, and notice it's the same date there, because some of the holidays may or may not fall inside your formula calculations. And what I mean by that is the start and completion date, let's say it's 50 days, and there are no holidays within those 50 days, so those two numbers may match. So don't get discouraged if that does happen, because it did for me in one of them, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't look right. And I can show you down here, 17 and 17. I'm like, what's going on? I have to go check my formulas. And I spent a long time counting the calendar days between those 2 days, and then realized, wait a minute, there are no holidays in between those two times. So it was a moot point. So don't waste your time doing that. But if you use the Workday International feature, you don't have to go in and grab that holiday set separately, or you don't have to rename it as something else. You just go in and select the cells that are holiday. Now, unless you want to name them holidays, and I hope we all know how to do that. If I just grab all of these cells here, come up here to the naming feature, name it holidays.
That's what I did for mine.
And that's perfectly fine as well.
Okay.
I see why I have the VLOOKUP here in my formula instead of, okay, basically you just did your VLOOKUP and put the days completed into this graph and then reference that cell. That's why I have it in mind, and because I didn't put the days it took to complete in this graph.
You might want to check to see if that was, I think that's one of the formulas we have to have is the build time.
It's into the here. Good. I mean, that's a good catch because I missed that then.
Yeah. Go back in and take a look at the instructions, because I think they said you're going to want to see 4 columns: build time and days, standard completion date, working Saturdays, completion date, working Saturdays and holidays. And then after that, we have to have 2 the lead times for the houses.
Well, that. All right. I will. Good times. Yeah. So then that formula just will reference that column then. Yeah. Good call, catch. Good thing I have till Saturday on this one.
One other thing that I did is I put a freeze pane in my spreadsheet so that the header is always, because they do have to scroll down. So to do that, like in our header and our columns, row number 4 is where the data starts. If you select that entire row and then go to the where's it at?
Here, I think I got it here.
Tab. Go to the View tab, then hit the freeze panes.
Yep.
And then when you scroll down, you'll always see your headers.
Yeah.
Just another little professional tweak there that will make a presentation go a lot smoother.
Yep. Yeah. I know you guys. Some of you guys are still working on 7, which is cool. If you guys have questions about 8 when you get to it, I mean, email them out. I mean, it's not a problem.
Watch the video again.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot us messages.
I will.
Okay, so I'm, just in case I'm mistaken, 7's due tonight, right?
Correct.
There's just no way.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
you
too.
and I are in the same boat, so
7's due tonight, 8's due by Saturday.
Yeah.
okay. So I gotta get going.
Go ahead.
How many points is this project?
I think it's 20 or something. Is it 20 points?
The problem is I've messed up too, so I can't mess up again.
I know. I mean, I missed with the issues with having an iMac for the first 2 weeks.
Oh, that would totally.
I had to buy a new computer, so.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't deal with the problems. I mean, it was, and she didn't help. I mean, she didn't give me any leeway. So I have some I
I thought there was
have
some kind of
class.
an app you could get.
I got the app and it
Wasn't there like an app you
effective.
could get?
Yeah, it didn't work well.
No.
It was awful. I had to just forget it. But I wasted so much time. Well,
Do you guys want to go back? Do you want to look at 7 again? Do you want to try to go over anything? Casey, if you want to go over any of this stuff, I don't know. What do you guys think?
You know what? Actually, Kevin, you did a great job explaining how you came up with that last one. I don't even want to dive into how I did it because it would only confuse them.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna get going because I need to try and finish this.
Okay.
But I appreciate you going through specifically the.
yeah, I think it helped, but I might get 10 points.
Don't worry. I mean, I'll be available through email tomorrow. These guys are better than me, but I mean, if you guys want to send out emails tomorrow at all, I can respond that way also. So.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
You just send us the link, right?
Yeah, I'll close this up and send the link out right after this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, see you
Good
guys.
luck, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna need it. Bye.
Bye.